Last video we chose a strategy to do more pit stops for this particular race. We didn't do too well the previous race because we chose one pit stop less, and our calculator suggested that it could potentially be 3 pit stops, and the past results didn't match because it showed 2 pit stops were best, but we were a lot slower than our rival. This race, our car performance from testing has just kicked in, so we had also this extra advantage. And this race we actually finished first because our strategy was very good with the low fuel, which matched this track's characteristics, and our car was the fastest in this race. With the low fuel, we lost little time in the first sector compared to others with higher fuel. And we were able to have a perfect pit stop and be in front of everyone after the first tire change. We were second and 5 seconds slower than Tomase before we pit. And we were 4 seconds slower, and after the pit we were actually in front of him. I think Tomase had a huge fuel load, so that's why he was a lot slower in the pit. If we have a look at the pits time, a lot of our rivals have a similar pit time compared to us. And we can see we finished only 6 seconds ahead of Giovanni, who did 1 pit stop less than us. I think if we didn't have a perfect setup with the weight compensation and all of that, then we wouldn't have beaten Giovanni. If we compare our lap times to Giovanni, our lap times were 1 to 2 seconds faster per lap. Because we know this track is suitable for 2 to 4 pit stops and it's optimum in the dry. And normally if we change to a wet weather, we might take 1 pit stop away. And we know in the dry we can do up to 4 pit stops without losing time, and we did about 3 pit stops in the rain. That's why we were doing very good in this race. We can see our wet lap time was about 0.6 seconds faster than Giovanni, but potentially Giovanni had much higher fuel load, and our lap was 0.3 seconds faster than Ethan in the dry. And if we look at our overall ranking, we were top 60 out of all the drivers in rookie class, and we did superior this race. And you can see everyone beside us did around 2 pit stops, and I think potentially the 4 pit stops is a lot quicker, and not many people chose that. Otherwise, if they did 3 or 4 pit stops, potentially we would rank around the 200s. So I think because everyone got a poor strategy, that's why you're able to rank high. Surprising part of this race is that a driver didn't drain off the stamina and actually dropped the risk by 10 points before the race start, because I found out that our stamina didn't recover enough. And we know that in the first race, around this or a bit lower, our driver drained most of the stamina. We trained a lot and gained a lot of stamina. Also had checked the driver mistake. Our driver made the mistake by themselves. And not during overtaking someone. I copied the race results into our calculator tool and I had a look at the data, and before the race start we see our car was in second place, but because Tomase is doing poorly, he's out of competition. Virtually we have the fastest car and our money looks very good. We have the fastest car and we have one of the top amount of money. And a surprising fact this race is that we can see Tukas hasn't done this race. So I have no idea what he's doing. Potentially he just gave up for no reason while in the top position to win this season. If we look at Tukas, we can still see he is still in our group, so he hasn't done any season resets at all. You can also see Q1 we were 1.6 seconds slower than Ethan and 0.1 seconds slower than Tomase. But in Q2 something happened with Ethan, so he got a very slow time and we're 0.2 seconds faster than Tomase. And we can see our Q1, Q2 we were very consistent. We were 3.85 seconds slower in Q1, Q2 with very little difference and qualified very well. And obviously because we qualified on pole and won the race, we got these two achievements. We're going to look at the sponsors because there's some attention needed. It's asking how popular our driver, so we can just say quite popular and we'll get a bit more money from the. We're also going to train our driver again. We're just gonna do the same thing and reduce weight. Gain another 2 stamina and reduce the weight again. If we look at the driver overall, we haven't done anything to increase the other stats which impacts our overall. We're only doing the weight reduction, which doesn't change overall, and we still have a lot of the highest rankings, so I think our driver potentially has some of the best stats. You can see Ethan's driver, his weight is going below 60, and he's probably using a similar strategy and just reducing weight every race. If we look at the staff and facilities, we lost 1 point of concentration, and surprisingly with a very good race result, our motivation went from 18 down to 9, so I don't get what's happening. And we can see our testing points has turned into performance, gained 2 power and acceleration, but only 1 for handling. Last season when we have very high facility levels, we had around maybe 7 to 8 points in each category, so I don't think the upgrades and the cost for facilities is worth it at all. I think our level right now is well balanced, and if I had to do rookie again, I would probably choose like level 7 or 5 for pit stop, because you're probably only gaining 2 to 5 seconds at most, sometimes not even anything, but you reduce the facilities maintenance a lot and that money adds up. We're going to upgrade our car for this race. We can downgrade the gearbox and downgrade the rear wing, and because most of the tracks they're going to come soon are not based on acceleration. We don't really need these parts upgraded, and we can save the money. And then for the engine, we can upgrade it again to level 4 and ensure that we win in this race. Because this track is mostly power, the upgrading our engine will give us a huge advantage. You can see if we downgrade these two parts, we have comfortable amount of wear lift. We're going to upgrade the engine instead of keeping it the same, because we can potentially downgrade it a bit for the next race and it'll last a bit longer and get the extra advantage this race and ensure getting points. So the extra 1.3 million is going to probably pay off. We're going to lose about 2 or 3 power points, but we gain it back with the engine upgrade. And from our testing, we got an extra 2 points in power and 2 acceleration from this race. That's gonna put our car similar to last race, slightly faster, and then should secure us a win. Then we're gonna make the updates. We actually gained 5 extra power points even after we downgraded our gearbox, and I wasn't expecting that much gain. You can see our level 4 engine would last pretty much only this race, but potentially we only need to downgrade it by 1 or 2 levels and it'll last the next race, and it will be allowing us to gain points this race and save us some money and cancel out the 1.3 million extra for the upgrade cost instead of replacing with the same level. Now we can see all of our car wear is clear. And we're going to copy and paste the wear into our calculator tools. You can see from the past results, the optimum is 4 pit stops and 3 to 5 pit stop. And you can see this track is 1.25, which suggests a 1 pit stop. If we look at the Q2 time and we assume about 42 seconds per lap, and throughout the entire race, because this track has 200 laps, it's about 160 minutes. And if we divide by our normal track, which is about 90 minutes, the 4 pit stops is equivalent to about 2.5 pit stops for a normal track. So we're going to choose a 4 pit stop also for this track. If we look at our tire wear and we choose the hard one and do 4 pit stops, we wouldn't be able to make it to the end. So we're going to do the 5 pit stops with hard tires. We can see the hard tire with 5 pit stops. And you can see we entered this 20% and we're using the offset, and we entered the actual wear, and we can see our tires would have about 11 to 13% left, doing 35 to 34 laps. We're also going to do 3% more laps, so we add 6 laps to the total. Because it's easy to overtake in this track, we're not going to add too many fuel in the first stint, otherwise we are going to lose overall time. And we entered the fuel required. We're going to find the setup. created the final setup, and we're going to find the wing split. And in this one, the force practice, we accidentally entered the wrong value because we're supposed to add some wing, and we accidentally removed it, so it went back a step to this step, and we got this value. Found that this -70 was fastest, and we did 20 and -120, it was about a similar time. So we're going to do slightly more to this one, and it's going to be -73. We're going to qualify with low risk. We qualified half a second faster than our group. Potentially we're going to win easily. And we're top 46 out of 2000. So that's the first time we are very close to the fastest people. We entered the field for the 35 laps. And we easily got half a second faster than our teammates in both qualifying. And the 1 second gap is huge because this track is about 1 minute slower, so twice as short as our normal track. And we qualified 46 again out of everyone, so we are super consistent. And we qualified top 20 out of 2000. That's a ridiculous qualifying. I never expect to ever see any qualifying times as good as this, especially with our driver who doesn't have much experience, and the experience stat matters in qualifying a lot, but it doesn't make much or any difference in the race. That's why you didn't choose anyone with high experience. You can see our Q1 and Q2 combined is only 0.3 seconds slower than 10th place, so that's super close. You can see our Q2 time is super good, but our teammates' Q2 time is very poor. Potentially they chose a very high fuel. That's definitely the wrong strategy because the tires won't last the race. We still have the fastest car in our group, but our car is the correct type, which is power, and others are not. We entered the setup for this race. We're going to set the risk for this race. We're going to increase it by 5 points. Because last race we started at about 80 stamina, but our driver wasn't able to drain all of the stamina. But because this race is many laps, I'm not sure how much stamina the driver needs. I'm just going to reduce the points again and just leave it as it is for last race, which is 35. So that ensures we don't have many laps with zero risk and we lose a lot of time. You can see for the race we just did, we burned 70 points of stamina in the race with this correct risk setting, and we entered the fuel required, and we're not going to change the risk because we want to play it safe and ensure we have enough stamina. Our car and our driver already is an overpowered combination, so I just need to make sure we don't have any mistakes. Another surprising thing about the race we just won is that we had the best pit time out of our group. If we look at the best pit time out of all the people and rookie, we can see our pit time is only 0.9 seconds slower than someone doing a normal strategy. Considering we have a low pit stop training level and we haven't upgraded our staff training at all, I think this is phenomenal. I think this race was well done and beautiful because we have everything optimized and we were only 7 seconds faster.